Hi, you're welcome, everyone. You're welcome to our conversation today. And the conversation today is how can we help the young boy child overcome the community pressure? A lot of pressure has been made and put upon the young boy or again the male so that they commit a lot of suicide. My name is Vera Sompon, and I am your host today. Together, we're going to be having a very dynamic guest who is going to tell us how we can help the young boy overcome the pressure of the community. I appreciate you a lot for taking out your time and giving us your time, which is a very special gift. And I know that you do not want to miss this conversation today. Help us share the link, especially with our boys and with the men. Invite as many boys and many men so that we can have this conversation together. As you are sharing the link and inviting, stay tuned for a very, very interactive conversation. So you're welcome back, everyone, to our Afro social workers, and this is a forum where we have come together like social workers in Germany so as to support the community. We have discovered in the community that there's a lot of challenges going on, and the past weeks we discovered that a lot of boys are committing suicide and a lot of men are dying with their family as a result of the pressure in the community. Myself and Helen Abeke came out with this program, the Afro Social Workers Forum, whereby we have to discuss, give you the necessary support, the mentorship that you need, and of course, build trust in the community. Our intention was and it is to be able to show you what the work of a social worker. Today, Abeke sends her greetings because she's not around, but be sure that next week you're going to see her again very live and strong. Now, today, going back to the conversation of today, how can we help our young boys prevent them from committing suicide? Prevents them from dying and prevents the old men from killing themselves and their family. I had no better person to pick up today as a pharmacist, a clinical researcher by name Sheryl Ndasi, and she has a project, The Men Excel, and has been doing this over years and years. Ma'am, you're welcome. It's a privilege to have you on my board today. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm honored to be here today. Thanks
Thank you
for
very
bringing me
much.
on board on this program of mine.
Thank you very much. And we have been having this conversation the past days, and we have been
Mhm.
exchanging on the fact that men, young boys are committing suicide now, and men are also dying these days and taking away themselves and their families. And we came to the realization that other young boys are even denying their identity. There's a kind of self
Yes.
hate in the community amongst the young boys. And so we thought that especially from the Afro-Social Forum, that we should have this conversation going. And this has been the third part of the conversation, boys education. Ma'am,
Mm.
today we want to see how can we support the young boy. And this time, you're not a social worker, but you're a clinical researcher. I'm very, very, very excited to have you, and I'm very, very pleased because you took the time to join us today. This is your platform. Tell us, ma'am, who are you, what you do, why do you support the boy child?
Hello. As you rightly said, I'm Sheryl Ndasi, a clinical researcher. Though I consider myself a female, I see myself as a grassroots man, a champion behind Men Excel, of what the society have defined what a man should be. The society have put a man into a mental box. making a man to feel that he's supposed to be emotionally strong, physically, mentally, and financially strong. That is a word of a man, which is high time for us to change this narrative, because it's no more sustainable. The narrative of what the society has given a man, what it should be, is no more society. It's no more sustainable. And that is not something that starts from that. It starts from small. It starts from birth. A boy is defined from the way he behaves. He's not supposed to be emotionally. He's not supposed to show his emotions. He's not supposed to cry. You hear a boy. When a boy starts crying, scolded by the father, you are a man. Be a man. Be strong. They are accepted to show aggressions, anger. Those are the acceptable way a boy is supposed to show his feeling. And a boy that is not really nurtured from small is the man tomorrow. So what we give the boy today, what we feed the boy today, is what we are going to reap tomorrow as a man. So from the basis, which is something we have to really critically look into it, because we have been educating our girl child. We have been telling them what to do. Don't dress this way to avoid rape. Don't go out at night. Don't do this, don't do that. But it's not helping the situation. They are not the one perpetrating this rape. The boys are doing that, even though boys are being raped also. That is the fun of it. A boy being raped is looked upon as he is gaining an experience. There are so many young boys that are being raped from small, and when they want to complain on going to their own pair or going to their own friends and said, that auntie raped me, and they are like, that auntie raped you. You gain the experience. That is not something you should complain about. It's something like pride. A boy that, these are societal pressure. A boy that doesn't have more than 2-3 girlfriends is not man enough. You wouldn't believe that. The most popular term they use in Cameroon is budman, because you've decided to stay with just one girl. So all this societal pressure on a boy is what is building. The boy of today is the man of tomorrow. So my main reason of my motivation behind Men Excel is to bring up the boy to build an emotional, balanced, intelligent boy. Only through then are we going to have a balanced society where rape, abuse, suicides, all this will be limited. I don't know if it will be eradicated, but we have to really get to the main root of the cause of rape, abuses, physical and mental. The men are really going through a lot. They are suffering a lot. Men are always also being abused. In relationship, they are also being exploited. But then, since they have been conditioned from small into that mental box, what it means to be a man, they don't come out. They prefer to die. A man would prefer to go homeless rather than seeking for help. If you tell an African man to seek therapy, it's like you have asked him to go and commit suicide, which is something that is going to help him. So it is high time to change the narratives of what it means to be a man. And that starts from a boy child.
Thank you so very much. It is high time to change the narrative, and it's high time to maybe re-educate. Like Rose Wambu, we say we need re-education, and then we are going to be wanting to. I want to find out what it really means to be a man. But before we get into the conversation, I want to welcome every one of you who is listening to us. Thank you so very much. I can see you, Mesme Mwafo. I see you, Mwambi Rose. I see you, Mary De Caro. I see you, Jerry, Dr. Jerry, Mori Okeyo, Sompon. I see all Eno Maggie, and Eno Maggie is asking the question, hey, tell me, how can a boy be raped? My first time to hear such a statement. And that is the reason why we are creating awareness, because we know that boys somehow has been raped. Ma'am, would you mind defining what rape is so that we get to understand if boys too could be raped?
Rape is getting sexual contact without the person accepting you to do such thing.
Yes, and
That
I
is a
know.
simple plain English. When somebody says no and you insist on doing what the person doesn't want, is against the person's will, that is rape.
So it's against the person's will, against the young boy's will, and
Boys
then
will.
you into him. I have heard two testimonies now, and someone told me that he was just barely the age of 10 years or 9, and his very, very
Mhm.
cousin raped him, and he could not say
Hmm.
anything because each night when people were sleeping, she would come into his room, their room, and he made sure that everybody was sleeping, everything was closed, and then would tiptoe get in there and touch him in sensitive spaces or body parts, and then
Okay.
sleep over him and really do the act. And his
Yeah.
mouth was supposed to be closed, and that was done by his very, very close inner people, not outsiders. And this has not been the first story I'm
Mm-hmm.
hearing. I have heard lot of stories from
Nice.
young men today. They are old men today, and they reported and said, I was really raped when I was a young boy.
Mm-hmm.
But this
Boy.
conversation we hardly hear in the community. And that's why we are having this talk today,
Don't want
because
to.
they hardly expose this kind of conversation because of the community. How would it feel to say that, oh, I have been raped as a boy? And then on the other hand, we are expecting him to be man enough. Ma'am, can you tell
No.
me what is the definition of I am a man or be a man? What does that mean?
To be a man, let us put it in a very formal a way that everybody will understand. To be a man, you're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to show vulnerability, which means whatever thing that is paining you, okay, man enough, put that face ahead, go ahead. To be a man means that you have to be financially successful. To be a man, which means if you have any problem that you're facing, you're not supposed to cry, which means you are not man enough. The most annoying part is that they are being trained from childhood that being a man means you have to be the provider no matter the circumstances. And even from childhood, when they are small, they started dating. Before a boy will go out for a date, he will make sure that he has to have money. He has to provide for the girlfriend. No matter what condition they're going to meet, he has to provide for that girl. So those are the things they grow up until a man will be a man and will feed his generation upon generations. The father, the mother, the worst part is if the man is the first child of the family, know that he is going to carry all the generation problems. Those are responsibilities that a man will not complain, but most of the time it's more than him. There are men that are being abused in their relationship. I mean, physically abused. They are men. I saw one video where a man was stripped naked by his girlfriend because he cheated on her. Both acts are not good. But what she did was like, my God, he was stripped naked because she bought him the jeans and t-shirt or whatever thing he was wearing and was sent out in the cold. They are men are out there suffering a lot. They are really suffering with the name be a man. Be a man means you have to accept everything and don't complain no matter the condition.
Mhm. These are really very tough conversations, especially when we are having to also deal with, on the other side, we are really empowering women. We want to empower women. And I am coming to the realization that maybe we have to start finding balance, because if we just empower women and we do not also empower men to understand who they truly are, then we are going to be having lots of challenges in the future. I've been seeing a lot of videos going on now, and we are having some young boys committing suicide. And when I heard and I saw that
Yeah.
video, the first question that came in mind was, what did the community do? Does it mean that no one around saw the signals? Ma'am, how can we help a young boy who is going through depression as a result of the pressure from the school, the community, the families, and all that, step by step?
The first step, I would say, it's not really easy for us Africans, especially, to accept that there is depression. They don't accept. Depression is like a stigma. So if you are living in a denial, how do you even recognize that your own child is going through something? We always refuse. It's just a teenager. It's a teenager habit. No, it's okay. It's a stage that will pass by. But then, if we have to really look at the situation, especially us Africans, we really have to look things in a different way. We really have to start re-educating ourselves and seeing that things like that are possible. It is possible for a 12-year-old child to first face depression. It is possible for a 12-year-old boy, a 14-year-old boy to be shamed, and that will lead into depression. So for me, first, the way the community is supposed to help is, first of all, to bring awareness into this. Awareness might be through workshop, conferences, programs, project like the Men Excel, where it's a safe place for where men and boys can come and discuss your problem without being condemned. And the next point I would say is to change the narratives. How do you change the narrative of a man, especially a man that has been groomed in a particular way of thinking in that box? I think men should start having mentors, or people can start mentoring men, because they do have mental problem. A lot of men are going through a lot, and I think men can also be a role model to their son. It must not be only your biological son, your friend's son, that boy on the road, the son of your, the friend of your son. Those are some of the things that we should start putting into consideration. Agenda 2053, the African we want, we can also make it the men we want, the agenda of the men we want in 2053 agenda. Those are the things we have to start doing, and then re-educating the men folk, from the boy to the men, because I always go through the men folk, but we start from the boy, because the boy of today is the man of tomorrow. That way, by literatures, by reading. Africa was not like this. This immorality we are facing in Africa is not what we had before. So we have to go to our road. We have to start studying our history. We have to start re-educating ourselves, making boys to know that they are worth more than financial success. They are worth more than, boys don't even know that they are not supposed to be giving their body to any woman. They don't know that. We say a woman should not give their body to any man. The opposite should be true also. By the time we start educating our boys today that you need just one partner, cheating is not good. By the time we reach 50 years, the mentality will change, because what we are facing today is not what is given to us by the society. And if we could adopt that, we can still change that. And that comes by re-educating our boy child of today, because they will be the men of tomorrow.
That comes by re-education, and you spoke about history, and each time I hear history, one name comes in mind: Dr. Jerry Rahab. And Dr. Jerry says the definition we have today of who a man is has been defined by ourselves, or African culture, but by white construction of man. And this is where
Yes,
I
it's
think
where
the problem is that we have allowed other people define manhood to us, and we have accepted it, internalize it, and then we are using it as though that was how it was in the beginning. Oh, how we have so fallen short from the glory of God. I really hope that we are going to come back to this conversation again. Thank you, Dr. Jerry. It's always a privilege to have you. And we have our teacher, Wambi Rose, who say, isn't it also a very religious thing how the man is supposed to be? Even the whole God is a man thing. Ma'am, would you mind saying something here? This is our teacher, and she talks a lot about re-education. And so she's saying that, but we are only talking about the society. What about these religious things that we are talking? Is it not also a cause of this man agenda stuff? What do you think?
I don't think religion has anything to do with this. I don't want to put it on religion because everybody has his or her own religion. It's not Christianity, it's not Muslim. Whatever thing you define as your own religion, for me, is your religion. I don't see it as religion did not even bring that a man should be a man should not cry, a man should not show emotions. How can you ask a man that, let me say, for example, a man will come and complain to you that my wife is disturbing me too much, or my wife is troublesome, and the solution you give to that man is that go and give her a serious beating. You balance her up. That has nothing to do with religion. I don't think so. Maybe some other religion, but for my own religion, I don't think it has anything to do. It is the society, not religion. It is where, and that starts from home. Before we even put it on society, it starts from home. How are you educating your boy child? What are you teaching your boy child? What
And
are
that
you
takes
feeding
us,
your boy child?
and that's going to take us to the question that was going to come along with the question of what is the role of the father in helping the young boy to overcome this kind of different pressures and pains or whatever in the community. So you can just link that up together.
The role of a father should really be a role model to the son. But then that brings us back to our African tradition. You can never give what you did not learn. Take, for example, a father that was being brought up same way as the society brought up the father. Don't cry. You are a boy. Don't talk too much. Only women talk too much. Why only women gossip? Men don't gossip. You're not supposed to show any emotions. Those are things. How can a father give back to his son? I'm talking now more of our African tradition where they have not been educated that way. So how can a father, I ask myself always this question, how can a father be a role model to a son when he himself doesn't know what is right or what is wrong? He's still living in the standard of the society. But then a father has to be close to the son. There is one thing I always say, a boy, especially in the teenage age, is in the growing stage. That is where he makes mistakes and learn from it. The first thing I would like we should stop condemning the boy child, rather than we should really build up this boy child in a way that he should grow up confidently with himself, because we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. So why should a child make mistake and it's like a stamp on him? A father should be a role model, like when a boy child grows up seeing the father cleaning the house. Of course, it is normal for him to clean also. The father is cooking. It is normal for him to cook also. The father is a loving man to the wife at home, respecting the wife, even respecting aunties and uncles. Those are some of the small things a child can take from home, from the father being a role model. But if a father is not the role model, it is really difficult. If the father is not portraying what should be, it is really difficult for a child to really grow up the way we want it to be. Because if we don't teach from home, the society will help us teach the child. And what is the society telling the child?
This is a very hard conversation. I will still want to go back and hit hard on the issue of manhood, because we need to go back to find out where the mistake came from. Now, my able teacher, Wambi Rose, made allusion to religion, and Dr. Jerry is talking about the white man's construction of manhood. And I feel like there's a kind of something is going on there together. Now, my question would really be, do we really, as the man, the African man today, is that our real culture, or there have been a miseducation somewhere?
The African man today is not really our culture. I think there's a miseducation somewhere. where, should I put it that the Western world came in and brought in their own way of what it should be a man. These are all strategies just to divide what a man should be. They were taken for slaves, beaten. They make them to feel that the right way is to show aggression. And it still goes back to this aggression. They have been brainwashed. What an African man is today is not what culturally is an African man. An African man honors the wife. Even if when they were married to 4 women, 5 women, they were always respected. This division, I cannot really go right into history and start talking more into history, but then it is not our culture. It was given to us. This education is twisted history. They twisted it the way they wanted to twist it. And the other day I was asking my husband, I never did history. And I was asking him that I can't believe that in the secondary school, there was nothing like African history, was European history. And I hated history for that, because you have to cram all whether the United Nations, the African Berlin War and all that with the dates. I hated history. You write 4 ledger of pages and you still come out with 10/20. For what? So I was asking him, but these are
No wonder you
little
have
things we
become a
can't.
pharmacist.
These are little things that we still have to change back home. We should go to our roots. And that is why I am in for Men Excel, because whatever thing we are facing today, we are not going to the root cause of why girls are suffering for matrimony or why the boys are committing suicide. We are just going into what is happening, but not why it is really happening. And if we don't get to the root cause, we are not going anywhere. We will not
So now
still
let's
achieve
talk on
the
the root
Africa of
cause.
tomorrow.
Let's talk on the root cause. What, and someone has asked that question, at what age is community pressure most common? What is the root cause of our young boys committing suicide, hating themselves, and our old men having all sort of pressure and dying old or young? Or again, what is the root cause of this madness?
The root cause is from, she asked what age. Let me start with the age.
Okay.
As small as 5, 6 years, we start telling a boy to suppress his emotions. And when you suppress your emotion for too long, what happens? It's either you explode. There are so many ways. People react differently. Some cannot take the pressure and they commit suicide. Some become very aggressive. You see a boy at teenage, he starts getting very aggressive, abusive with things like that. The root cause for me is the emotional manipulation they put on a boy child, giving him responsibilities at the age of 6. He is the provider. He is supposed to control his emotion at 6 years old. For me, when we get to that main root of building an emotional, intelligent boy, I think from there we can move forward.
Emotional, intelligent boy. Let's go to the. Thank you very much, ma'am. I like my historian, and she's always there. And my historian says that man, according to whiteness, was to empower the white men, and black men were not considered to be men. They were property. So maybe from this, we can now start seeing where the problem is. If our black men were considered to be properties, and now they are considered to be men, and now the things they have learned from the whiteness start influencing them. They internalize that kind of attitude from the whiteness concept. Maybe that's the root cause of all this aggression, madness, become a man, and whatever thing. Does it take us back to the history of colonialism?
So it took us back to the history of colonialism. But I cannot even really talk about history because I'm no historian.
That's good. Thank you. We have our historians at home. So let's go back to the topic of today. Therefore, you are working on the project called Men Excel. And I
Yeah.
am been watching what you have been doing. Last year, you had a conference where you organized and you encouraged some men to join. And I saw about 30 men who came together, and we had good conversations. And it is in your program where I asked about 28 men which of the men will want to marry give their young daughters to their young selves, and not one of them were able to say, hey, here I am. And so that's why from that moment I paid keen attention to Men Excel, because I love the concept that you wanted to give a new narrative to the young boys and empower them in that light. We have a lot of empowerment going on with women. We should continue. We need to empower both um, genders so that we fulfill the purpose of God. My concern with any philosophy and the idea is that we need a balance. And therefore, coming back to balance,
Yes.
ma'am, what motivated you to start this program, Men Excel?
This is something that went back as far as my childhood. We had a different way we grew up. My father grew up in America, so when he came back home, he had this way of helping at home. My father was always there, washing plates, doing his own laundry, cleaning the household, and we became the laughing stock. If you go out and play with our friends and then maybe it comes out that we are querying, they're like, go away, go back to your home. That your father that is like a wife in the house. So those are things that really made us, we were not really playing that much in our community, because it was like, my father is not normal. Why should he cook with my mother? Why should he go to the market? Why should he even do laundry? Why should he help us to even wash the plates that we should go and learn? So those things are the things that really, when I came here and I grew up, and then I'm now married with 2 kids, and I know how important it is to have a man that helps at home. And then I say that things are not really changing, they are getting worse, which means no matter how we empower the girl child, no matter how we empower the women, if we don't bring the men, we cannot live equal. If we don't make the men to be able to cope with the empowered women, things are only going to get worse. So that is my real motivation behind Men Excel, to really change the narrative, because my father was an exception. He was 1 out of 1 million. Who does that in Africa? Not to talk in those days. So that is my motivation behind Men Excel.
And thank you so very much. I can see some of the men here. Thank you, Body for Elvis. Thank you, Breeze Cacho. Thank you so very much, Steph. To all the men that are here, I give you chapeau, because you have done what very few would do. I really, really appreciate you. That doesn't mean that I do not appreciate the women who are here, because I know without the men, there's no woman, and without the woman, there's no man. You see, at the end of the day, it still comes back to the same story. We both need empowerment, but the question is, how do we support the boy child today so that they do not fall into the pressure in which they are? A short story to what I heard yesterday. I got a friend who called me yesterday after sending me a very horrible video. And after watching the video, I said to myself, God, if this is all about empowering women, then we can better also stop the empowerment. If empowerment means that we transform women to become this wicked and take the whiteness position, then we have destroyed a very good part of us. And so he was telling me the story, the challenges that he's observing in the community, because he's psychiatric. And so he was seeing so many things happening. And it dawned on me again that this is the empowerment we are seeing around the world. If empowerment means that we treat another person's child wickedly because he is a boy or because he is a man, then I have to question what kind of empowerment was that? Was that
Mhm.
wicked empowerment or really empowerment to
Empowerment.
strengthen our community? Ma'am,
Community.
what can you say about what is happening with our men today? Where have they fallen? And how can we help? Now we have spoken about the boys that is going through all sorts of challenges. We still don't even know how to really help them because we are seeing
Mhm.
very few men also here. But we know that there is a need for this conversation. We know there's a need for a safe space. We know there's a need for maybe anonymous lines, calling telephone lines whereby they can
Mhm.
call. And that's why I want to applaud. There is a project by Wise Tolu or the Wise Tola. I hope I pronounced her name correctly. She's in the UK and she has an online conference or a telephone call whereby young people can call that number anytime, any day, and they are going to have someone listen to them and give them just that listening ear. Ma'am, how do we really help the situation in the community?
For me, first is just like I said before, awareness. We have to start creating awareness. Let the men know that there are places where they can seek help. There are places where they can go to and they are being listened to. Like Men Excel is a safe space for them to come out. Cry, you can do it. You must not come out physically because I know it's going to take years before men will really come out and start saying I was raped as a child. But the way things are going, they need to come out. They need to speak. They need to show their vulnerability. They need to be emotional. They need to ask for help. That is the only way a man will start getting attention the way we women are using it to create our own intention. There was a boy that raped 4 days ago. I'm not seeing it on social media, but once a girl is raped, God. There was a video also, I think you sent me that video that they did this test where a boy was, it was like a video, it's a test. He was like beating up the women. Everybody gathered up and was hitting that man.
Mhm.
Then the opposite happened. She was hitting the man.
And no
Everybody
one
was
says,
looking, nobody answered. They were even laughing. There was only like, what is going on? Nobody stepped in to help that man. And that is the reality for our men today. That is what they are going through. There was another video that that girl was also beating up the man, and the person making the video was saying, "Don't touch her, oh. Don't touch her because you will go to prison, not her." And that is the reality. Men, they have to start coming out. They have to be bold enough. They have to know that being emotional is strength. Asking for help, you are a strong man. You are not a weak man. It's not the opposite. Let the community don't fool you that you have to be strong. If you don't have money, it doesn't mean you are not a man. How does that change that you are not a man? Rather than our boys going to extend to steal, to become armed robbers, things just because they want to satisfy the urge of having that money so that they look at them as somebody, they have to start really coming back to reality. And that goes to their identity. They have to know their value. Their value are more than financial success. Their value are more than just seeing any girl along the road and diving into
big
there. They
woman.
have value. They have values. Be a man of value. And by the time they start realizing that they are more important than money, they are more important than sharing themselves, I think they will start coming back to their identity because they are not living their true identity. They are living an identity that has been defined for them.
Thank you
So
so
I
very
will
much.
ask all men to come out and be vulnerable.
Let men come out and be vulnerable. I'm going to start with the conversation of my historian. Dr. Jerry says something, and I really like the precision. She says, white feminism is teaching African people to hate our men. And this, I think, is the core of the problem. We talk about feminism, especially in the context of the European feminism, but we do not
Mm-hmm.
really understand what that really means and the historical aspect of it. And it takes us back again to internationalized racism, because the more of this white feminism that we carry in us, it pushes us again to rather hate our men. The reason why we treat them with so much hatred, we treat them with so much disgust, we await from them the things we will not even wait from normal human being. You know, I when I sit back as a mother, I ask myself the
Mm-hmm.
question, I mean, I do not expect this much load on a man. This man has a family like I have a family. How can one expect
Mm-hmm.
so much from one human being? I mean,
Human
we should
being.
be so
It's true.
wicked enough to expect so much from people that really, I mean, they will die on the way. How do you want to help a young boy by putting them much pressure? And when they
Pressure.
start giving you back what you have given them, we complain again. Oh my
Yeah.
God, there is a lot to swallow in this. Dr. Jerry says men should break the silence. I hope that our men are
Yes.
here and that they will take this opportunity. This should not be our conversation. I think that we are starting up this conversation to give the men the courage, the power to also come up and
Yes.
really say those things, because it is about them, and we just want to make them understand we are behind to support them to be
Them.
the real people that they are supposed to be, live in their fullness and in their purpose, and not in any kind of whiteness definition of man. And she
Man.
says that because violence is only associated with men and not
Men.
with women, and that's true. We see that a lot in the community. When we talk of violence, what do we hear? Who do we see? A woman. And we hardly think that men too could be
Are
suffering from that. I'm
suffering
seeing
from.
Steph Ninon, thank you for being here. And he says, to support the boy child, you need first of all to try to help him to build some reasonable self confidence, and then talk to them like you guys were friends, so he could feel very free around you, who is a parent. Thank you so, so much for this comment. Ma'am, what do you think? What does self confidence do in a young boy's life?
A nurture boy of today, self-confident make this boy to be emotional intelligent. I'll still go back to the emotional intelligence because that is what gives this boy the balance in life. A nurtured boy that has been given all the right tools from small, what it means to be a man is going to be the real man that can cry if things are above him, a real man that will not go homeless on the street because he is afraid to ask for help. That is what self-confidence is all about. And that self-confidence in most cases starts from home. It's not given from the society. It's the way you bring up your child from home. It's the way you treat your child when he comes in with a failure. Maybe he comes in doing something wrong. The way you will explain, nurture him, talk to him, what he has done, as Self just said, we have to make our boys to be like a friend, especially you as a mother. If you are the one spending more time with the boy, you have to educate the boy, because the boy is what I want my son to be, the version of the man I want to marry. I just imagine me having a girl and another mother is not putting on all the work to educate his boy, and I'm educating my girl. Tomorrow my daughter is going to get married to that boy that was not trained to be a real man. So we have to emphasize also, as parents, we have to start from home to educate our boy to become a confident boy of the society, a nurtured boy that will be balanced tomorrow.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And we have also other comments here. We really need to empower the men, and especially the boys. Showing emotion is not a sign of weakness. Thank you very much, Bob Dalio. Thank you so much. That is very true. Showing emotions is a sign of strength. And then
Bob
we're
Dalio is
talking
my
about
husband.
mm, that name I did not know. Thank you, sir, for being here. Thank you for your support. It is a privilege to have the husbands supporting the wives. Thank you. God bless you, sir. And we have Moro Keyo who says, I will be happy to see more men talk about this, about topics as
Yeah,
this. Representation matters. This is a form of empowerment to young boys. So
to the
I'm
young boys.
encouraging Mr. Ndasi to come up the next time in our conversation. I'm encouraging Mr. Stamper, who is always doing an amazing job anywhere. I encourage you. I encourage all the men. I want to use the platform to say thank you to Mr. Abeke, who was there the last time. I encourage Mr. Bolifo. Thank you, Mr. Bolifo Elvis, who has been doing an amazing job on this and on the platform of the debate. Thank you also, Breeze Kachu. I hope that we're going to have the conversation with many more men as representatives so that the young boys can see that the men are doing the jobs that they are supposed to do. And then Miran says a woman must respect you, save you because you are a man. That is also one of the challenges that we are having in the communities. Hmm. It is time to build up real good parents and real good stuffs. And Bonnie for Elvis says parents can only give back what they have
What
received.
they
And this goes back
said
again
that's
to what you have been saying, ma'am, that we cannot
mhm.
give what we do not have. And therefore, it would take me again to the talk of Mrs. Wambi Rose, who says re education is what
Sure.
we really need now. But, ma'am, tell me, how can adults unlearn what they have been told for the past 45 years?
By reading literatures, going to
Mhm,
seminars, there are so many seminars to teach the way a parent should behave. We have the internet, even though the internet has the good, the bad, and the ugly. But if you are looking for the right thing, you will get it there. And you will get enough literature to re-educate parents on how to change the narratives and send your boy child or your kids to the right direction. So it has to go with learning. We really have to learn. We really have to do our researches. We really have to just try it today. You have a problem and just go to the internet and type. But
mhm,
then you really have to take it upon yourself that you want to learn. There are circumstances that my son will make me, I'm so confused. I don't know what to do, where to go to, and I have to really learn it. At times I tell him, oh, just give me one day. I'm not in the mood to talk now. Why? It's because I did not even know what to do at that situation or at that point. And I go back and try to read. How can I walk up this situation? How can I teach this child another way of doing things which I did not know? Because when we grew up, when you do something wrong, the next thing is only a slap. Or you are well beaten. But things are changing. You cannot beat a child now because I've seen that it's not helping. We have to educate them. And that only comes where, since we were not brought up that way, we have to learn to be able to give that to our kids.
mhm. Since we're not brought up that way, then we have to learn that so that we can really help our kids. We have a lot to really learn.
Really.
Ma'am, it means that mothers to really have a lot to really learn because okay,
Mm-hmm.
we have a lot of mothers who are at home, but this gets me worried. To be honest, this gets me worried. We have lots of mothers who say they are supposed to be at home, take care of the children, and all this. Could it be that we, the mothers, are the one that influence such characters to be reproduced? Because
We
if
also grew up in a
80% are those that are with their children at home, and we know that at the age of
mm-hmm.
2 already you've built already that kind of character going up to 6 before they get to kindergarten, and most, I mean, 80% of the women are at home with their kids. can we say that women are the contributive factor to this pressure on the boys? I'm just being now very reflective.
Yeah, I'm being reflective also, but then just like I said, even us, the African women, we grew up also knowing that a boy is not supposed to come into the kitchen. We did not learn anything other. We been brought up that we are the home takers, excluding the boys out of it. So if you are being brought up that way, how do you give that to your son? You don't see it as necessary part of this boy's life. So it all boils down to re-education. We have to train ourselves because we are only giving back what we were being brought up. A boy is not supposed to come to the kitchen. The boy is not supposed to clean. And if you go to so many homes, the mother will keep sending the girl, forgetting that there is a boy. When it's time to cook, the mother will call but the girl, forgetting that the boy also has to learn how to cook. The boy also has to learn how to clean the house. So I think we contribute a lot also, since we are the ones spending maybe 80% of the time at home with the boy child. We too have our own contribution in the boy's child's life.
Thank you very much. We have Zita Benis Tina, who says that the community as a whole has to unlearn some harmful mindsets, learn new value, adding behaviors. It will take the conscious decisions to educate, empower, and nurture the boy child. Thank you very much, Zita. And then we have also we have Bridget Mafopa, who says both parents are really involved in that thing of a change. And then we have, of course, Seth, who says that is why we say change is necessarily, because change is what we really need. And of course, Bridget again says, I would say the parents here in the diaspora, they need both parents. It is a tough conversation, and my mind keeps going to that young boy who committed suicide. My mind keeps going to that young man who dies early at the age of 50 because all the pressure is on him to be a father, to be a brother, to be a sister, a grandpa, to be the community leader, to be the house head, to be the provider. And this takes my foundation because I just don't know how my son. Well, thank God for some parents that have are understanding some of these things, but I feel that there's a lot of pressure put on the male gender, and that we really have to unlearn certain things. Let me take a case, the example that I spoke of yesterday, and who was telling me he works full time, the wife works full time, and he takes care of everything at home. And the wife, we are talking about those in the diaspora now, and the wife says her money is hers, and the man is supposed to do every other thing, take care of the home, the food, the woman, the family-in-law. And she really comfortably says, my money is mine. Mom, is that really an empowering culture? Can men continue in this manner? And if empowerment really means, is that empowerment? Is that what we should be teaching the women? Is that the empowerment?
No, that is not what we should be teaching the women. I don't call that empowerment. Because if you say your husband you are both working and he is taking all the financial responsibilities at home, and you say your own money is for you, that is not empowerment. Because we are supposed to empower each other to grow. The man and the woman should be their support system. So how do you expect a man to take all that responsibility? And then an African man in Europe, maybe he still has responsibility back home. The auntie, the uncle, the father, everybody is looking up to him. You want to kill him early. That is why men die early. Or that is why you see a man will get tired and then commit suicide. And then in the case of committing suicide now the men are not committing the suicides alone. They take their family with them.
God forbid.
So they take their family. That is the truth. They kill, they shoot, they burn. Anyhow they want to do it, they go, all of them. So it's time also for us also to look into this thing we call feminism. We should look into this thing. We say we empower ourselves. We do not empower ourselves to destroy the man. We empower ourselves to be able to work together so that we can live together. Only that way is the society going to function.
I think
So
that
for
one
me,
you
it is
said
not right.
was white feminism. And
White
that's the white
feminism. Somebody
feminism
said that.
that is teaching us to hate our men. Because I think that if you love and honor and respect and cherish your son, the boy, the king, the
Yeah.
head, the king, as he should respect you, then you cannot and we cannot continue in that same manner and expect that they are empowered. So that is what we call white feminism. And white feminism have taught us, the black woman, to hate our men.
But men, I would just like to ask just a simple question to all the women out there. Any woman that is practicing the white feminism, the way we put it there, just go a few steps back and ask yourself, if it was your son in that position and the wife is treating your son that way, what will you do? That is something all of us have to really go into thinking. Wives, girlfriends, fiancé, just ask yourself this question. If it was my son in the position of where I'm putting this man now, what will I do? Then you will get the solution of all what I am saying. It's the same thing like I always put myself, I have a boy and a girl. I'm struggling to bring up my son in the way that he should be not depending on any woman, not depending on anybody. He should be independent, nurtured, balanced in a way that, because we women, let me not say we are devilish. We women are kind of, when we get this feminism thing in our head, we become
White
something else.
feminism. White feminism.
White feminism. Thank you. White, let me just use that word. White feminism. We become something else. We exaggerate. We Africans would like to exaggerate our own things. Even the white woman will not even do it the way we will do it. We like to take things and then add our own on top of it without really looking into it. That goes down to education, research. You don't just take anything and start applying it. You have to
Thank you
look
so much.
what passes to your home. How is this going to build your home? Because only a balanced home, only a home that is balanced is going to bring out something to the society that is balanced. If it's not balanced, you are not able to bring out a balanced kid. And this balanced kid will come to the society and be what we know. The term they will bring it. African kids are always aggressive. They are always angry. They are loud. They are all sort of.
Thank
So
you
for
so
me,
very
we
much,
have to change
ma'am.
the writing.
Thank you so very much, ma'am. Thank you for all of you who are really participating. Thank you, Zita Benice. Statistics shows that household that is void of a father figure, their children make and female have the highest rate of school dropouts, drug addict, abortion, and abuse on their spouses. So I would say that the boy child definitely needs a father figure who is a role model to him. Thank you very much. And then we have also another statement from Bridget who said, oh yes, there is no discrimination in the upbringing of my daughters or son. I treat them equally, cooking, cleaning, and all that. Thank you very much, Bridget. We have Letis Ojombeson who says, true, because you can only pour from a cup that is full. I appreciate you all, ladies and gentlemen. And ma'am, this is the time. Give us your last statement because we are rounding up. It is always very difficult to have a 1 hour or 58 minutes conversation, especially conversations that are so very important and triggering. But then we have to stay on time so that we do not disappoint our listeners. Your last word to us today.
My last word for today, I will say to the men, be excellent. You are needed. Without the men, we are not going to be here. They are the seeds. And to the boys, change the narratives. Cry, be vulnerable, ask for help, ask for opinion if you don't know what to do. Seek for help if you don't know how to go about any situation. Those are my key words I will give today to all the men. We cannot be talking here if there is no man. because they are the seed and they are the king and they are the head. And to my future boys, you are the king. Change the narratives.
Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am. This was a very educative, informative conversation today, and I really appreciate all of our viewers who have been so very, very active. You see, the time goes so quick, and I really do not want to take a lot of your time, but be sure that we are going to have this conversation again next week. Same conversation. How can we empower the boy child? And I'm going to take from the question of my sister Brigitte Mafopa, who says, what does empowerment really mean? Thank you so very much for being with us. Let's meet again same time next week, and be sure that we are going to keep eyes on our boys child, because we know that they matter to us. God bless you and have a nice evening.